My name is Marcus Ellis. Ever since my twin sister left for college, our old family home has felt emptier than usual. I sleep with my door unlocked. Routine, I tell myself, even though my parents always warned me not to. I work odd hours as a night shift graphic designer, so my sleep schedule is all over the place. Last week, I stayed up until sunrise playing video games, then crashed on the couch. By the time I woke up, it was already early afternoon and dark clouds had gathered outside. That night, around midnight, I finally dragged myself up to go to bed. The house was silent except for the hum of the old refrigerator in the kitchen. I double-checked that the front door was locked. It was. In the living room, I saw flickering light through the window blinds, the street lamp across the road casting shadows. As I walked upstairs, I noticed the light in the hallway seemed too dim, like a bulb was burning out. When I got into bed, I was exhausted but couldn't immediately sleep. The wind was picking up outside, whispering through the trees. Then I heard it, a very soft tap on the window in my room. I froze. The sound was rhythmic, like someone tapping a pencil on glass. My heart started pounding. I told myself maybe it was just a branch, but the tapping continued. Tap, tap, pause, tap. I slid off the bed quietly and peeked through the crack of my bedroom door. The hallway was dark, but I could still hear the tapping through the closed window behind me. I convinced myself it was nothing, just a trick of the wind. When I slowly walked back to the bed to try again, the taps turned into a low, deliberate knock on the glass. Now I was sure it was someone on the other side of the window. I flicked on the bedside lamp and shone my phone's flashlight out the window. My breath caught in my throat. In the faint glow, I could make out the silhouette of a person standing on the cold grass just a few feet from the glass. They weren't moving. For a long moment, I just stared. The figure was hunched forward, tapping insistently. I opened the curtain a crack and whispered, "Who is it? What do you want?" The tapping stopped instantly. The man straightened slightly but stayed where he was. Through the slight gap, I could see it was an older man with a tangled beard and wild eyes. I yanked the curtain shut and fell back on the bed, panicked. My mind was racing. Why was this man at my window? I backed up and sat on the edge of the bed, phone in hand. Should I call the police? Before I could decide, another noise came from outside. It sounded like my front door opener clicking. My blood went cold. I hadn't even heard the front door, and it should have alarmed if it opened. I crept to the bedroom window again and peered out. The figure was gone. In the distance, I saw the faint outline of someone moving across the front lawn. Were they going towards the garage? My heart thundered. I grabbed the baseball bat under my bed, something I kept after an old college game, and tiptoed quietly to the top of the stairs. From there, I could hear the faint shuffle of feet in the living room below. Someone was inside the house. "Hello? Who is there?" I called out, voice shaking. Silence answered me. Then a dull thud came from the basement door. My parents had a basement workshop, and the door was usually locked with my dad's chain when he went to bed. I was certain I had locked it after helping him put away groceries earlier that afternoon. Gripping the bat tightly, I crept down the stairs. The house smelled of cold concrete and old lumber. The noise was louder now, footsteps moving back and forth, low murmurs I couldn't quite make out. My mind raced with images of muffled faces and intentions. When I reached the basement door, I flung it open and swung the flashlight through the dark room. The beam caught the shape of something, or someone crouched behind a workbench. "Get away from me!" I yelled, and the intruder bolted. I swung the bat toward the shadow. My eyes couldn't catch the speed of it, but the beam caught a glimpse, an arm covered in dirt and scratches. As the figure scrambled out of the basement door into the kitchen, I ran after it, screaming at the top of my lungs. In the kitchen, the intruder was almost at the back exit. My phone clattered to the floor, its light glowing on the tile. I swung the bat one more time, hard, connecting with the assailant's shoulder. The man staggered and hit the door frame. I rushed him, desperate to pin him down.
He shouted incoherently and twisted away. In that moment, my foot caught on the rolled-up rug and I fell, hard. The man disappeared through the door into the night. I was left gasping on the cold kitchen floor, bat in hand and heart pounding in my ears. I rolled over and dialed 911. Sirens wailed not long after, patrolling the empty streets. The officers took my statement, but the intruder was gone without a trace. Now, weeks later, I still can't shake the memory of that night. I've reinforced the locks and even installed extra lights. But every time I hear a creak or a tree branch scrape, my hands go cold. I never learned who that man was or how he found my house in the middle of the night. The thought of his wild eyes at my window is something I keep replaying, wondering what would have happened if I hadn't woken up when I did.
I don't really know why I'm writing this now. I've typed it out a few times and deleted it, mostly because it sounds stupid when I read it back, or dramatic, or like I'm trying to convince myself something happened when it didn't. But I keep thinking about it, especially late at night, so I guess that means something. For context, I haven't been sleeping right for a long time, like months. I work remote tech support for a logistics company, and they run on multiple time zones, so my schedule is a mess. Some weeks I'm working evenings, some weeks it's overnight shifts. I've always been bad at sleeping anyway, even before this job. I'll lie in bed exhausted but wide awake, scrolling on my phone, watching random videos, telling myself I'll stop after one more. I average maybe 4 hours of sleep on a good night, sometimes less. I've tried melatonin, cutting caffeine, even those dumb breathing exercises. Nothing sticks. So yeah, I know sleep deprivation can mess with your head. I'm not ignoring that. I live alone in a small apartment on the second floor of an older building. Nothing fancy. One bedroom, thin walls, old plumbing that makes noise at random hours. I've been here about 2 years. The building is quiet for the most part. Mostly older tenants, one couple with a dog downstairs. That's about it. This started during a stretch where I was doing overnight shifts for almost 2 weeks straight. I'd work until around 5 a.m., try to sleep until noon, fail, then nap in the afternoon. My sense of time was completely wrecked, days blurred together. One night, maybe around 3 a.m., I heard what sounded like someone in the hallway outside my apartment. Just footsteps, not loud, slow. I remember pausing my work and listening. Hallway noise isn't unusual. People come and go. I didn't think much of it. What I did think was strange was how long it went on. The footsteps stopped right outside my door. I heard what I thought was fabric brushing against the wall, like someone leaning there. I sat at my desk for a solid minute, staring at the door, waiting for a knock or the sound of keys. Nothing happened. Eventually, I shrugged it off and went back to work. I honestly forgot about it until the next night. Same time, same slow footsteps, same pause outside my door. This time, I stood up and looked through the peephole. The hallway light was on, but no one was there. I even opened the door a crack. Empty hallway. Quiet. I told myself it was probably the guy downstairs or someone pacing while on the phone. Old buildings echo weirdly, plus I was exhausted. My brain was probably filling in gaps. Over the next few nights, it kept happening. Not always at the same time, but always when I was awake late. Footsteps, a stop, that sense of someone being right outside, even though there was never any proof. I started paying attention to smaller things, sounds I normally ignored, like how sometimes I'd hear a faint clicking noise near my door, like someone touching the handle lightly, not turning it, just testing it. I checked the lock constantly after that. It was always locked. One night, after barely sleeping for 2 days straight, I heard something different. A soft knock, not on the door, on the wall near my bed. My bed is against the wall that borders the hallway. At first, I thought it was a pipe or someone bumping into the wall. Then it happened again. 3 light taps, evenly spaced. I sat up in bed and said, "Hello?" which I immediately regretted. My voice sounded weak even to me. No response. I pressed my ear to the wall like an idiot, trying to hear breathing or movement. Nothing. Just silence.
The next morning, I emailed my landlord asking if there had been any complaints about noise or maintenance work in the hallway. He replied a few hours later, said no, everything was normal. A couple nights later, I finally saw something. I was in the kitchen around 4 a.m. heating up leftover rice because I hadn't eaten in hours. I glanced through the peephole out of habit. This time, someone was there. Not right up against the door, but standing down the hall near the stairwell. Just standing there, facing my door. I couldn't make out details through the peephole distortion, but I could tell it was a man. He wasn't moving. I sat there longer than I should have. My heart was pounding, but part of me kept thinking, this is nothing. He'll turn around any second. He didn't. I quietly stepped back and locked the deadbolt again, even though it was already locked. I didn't call out. I didn't open the door. I just stood there waiting. After maybe 2 minutes, I checked again. The hallway was empty. The next day, I barely functioned. I messed up at work, forgot basic things, reread the same email 5 times. I kept replaying the image of him standing there, or what I thought I saw. That night, I decided to keep my phone recording audio while I worked, just in case. I didn't tell anyone. I felt ridiculous. Around 3:30 a.m., I heard the footsteps again, this time louder, faster. They stopped right outside my door. Then I heard breathing. I know how that sounds, I do, but it wasn't coming from my apartment. It was muffled, like through wood, someone breathing on the other side of my door. I backed away slowly and whispered that I was calling the police. The breathing stopped immediately. I called anyway. By the time the police arrived, everything was quiet. They checked the hallway, the stairwell, even knocked on a few neighbors' doors. No one reported seeing anything. One officer suggested it might have been stress or lack of sleep. He wasn't rude about it, just factual. Before they left, one of them asked why I had a towel stuffed under my door. I hadn't noticed I'd done that. Things were quiet for a few days after that. I almost convinced myself it was over, that I'd pushed myself too hard and my brain filled in the rest. Last night, I woke up to my phone buzzing. I had a missed call from an unknown number at 2:58 a.m., no voicemail. When I checked the peephole, there was someone standing there again, closer this time, close enough that I could see part of his face pressed near my door, like he was trying to listen inside. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Eventually, he stepped away. I heard the footsteps go down the hall. This morning, there were faint scuff marks on the carpet outside my door, right where someone would stand if they were facing it for a long time. I haven't slept since. I don't know if I'll be able to tonight. I keep telling myself there's a normal explanation, someone confused, someone drunk, someone harmless, but I've started keeping a chair wedged under my door handle anyway, just in case.